Today I'm going to be planting these tomatoes in the same exact spot that I've been planting tomatoes for years, which breaks one of the biggest rules in organic gardening, which is crop rotation. It sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Blight, fusarium wilt, total crop failure are some of the potential risks of growing tomatoes in the same place year after year. But here's the hack. I grafted every single one of these tomato plants onto disease-resistant rootstock. And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how I did it. We'll cover what grafting is and why it works, all the way through the grafting process, how it can protect your tomato plants from soil-borne diseases, even when you're planting in the same spot year after year. I'll also walk you through how I interplant these tomatoes in the high tunnel to maximize my profit. I'll show you the exact trellising system I use to lower and lean these for crazy yields, and how to avoid the biggest mistake that people make when planting grafted tomatoes that completely wipes out all the benefits. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share with you my secret ingredient that I used last year that literally saved my entire tomato crop from collapsing to disease, and you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Welcome back to Chef's Harvest Farm. If you're new here, I'm Chef Mikey. I'm a former executive chef turned urban farmer. Let's talk about what is tomato grafting and why am I doing it. Basically, what I've got here is two different types of tomato plant. This one is my rootstock tomato plant. So this is a type of tomato plant that's bred specifically for its disease resistance. It doesn't really grow a desirable fruit. It grows a tomato that's generally small and doesn't ever really turn red, right? It's not bred for like a flavorful fruit or anything. And then these tomato plants are sun gold tomatoes. These are the tomato plants that I actually want, that the chefs desire and want to buy. So I'm gonna chop the tops off of these tomato plants, and we're gonna sear them onto the bottoms of the disease-resistant rootstock. Really, the reason that I'm doing this is because I grow all my tomatoes in these high tunnels behind me, and I grow them in there year after year with poor crop rotation. And I do that because then I can keep the rain off the leaves. Everybody knows tomatoes don't like to have wet leaves. Also because I can suspend them from the actual structure, and I can trellis up to the structure, and it holds my tomato plants up. So it's just a really ideal place to grow them. But my farm is so small, they've got very limited space, so I grow them in the same place every year. For that reason, I graft my tomatoes, and that way I just get to have continual harvests later into the season. But if I don't graft them, then there's a very high likelihood that like by July or early August, right as they start producing really good, then the plants would be susceptible to disease. I'm going to take you into the basement, and I've got a whole workbench set up. I have a healing chamber all set up so that after we do the grafting, there's some very important steps that you need to do to make sure that they heal properly, because you're doing plant surgery. You're literally cutting two plants in half. First steps basically is just chop the tops off of all these rootstock plants. I'm gonna use this. I just bought these. They're just like little razor blades that I bought off Amazon. I'll leave a link below. I bought like a pack of 10 of these for like $8, you know. You can buy like an actual grafting tool that cuts these at a specific angle, but the tool is like 50 or 60 bucks, and I just don't see the value in it. I'm just gonna take my razor blade and I'm gonna cut the tops off of all of these at a 45-degree angle. And then I have these clips. They're grafting clips, and I bought them from Johnny's Selected Seeds. You just squeeze right there, and then it opens that up, and that goes around the stem of the plant. So I'm going to chop all the tops off, and then I'm going to stage all these right on top of my rootstock plants. So then I can put the sun golds right on top of this and just slide it in. I saturated these in water yesterday, so they're nice and perky. You don't want to do this if they like need water or they're stressed out at all. You want to have nice, healthy plants. It took me about 5 minutes. I wasn't like super precise about it, and I just kind of cut the tops off at a little bit of an angle, kind of like 45-degree angle, the best that I could. And then, so this is the tops, and it's just trash. We don't need this anymore because we're just after that rootstock. So next, I'm just gonna go ahead and stage my clips right on top of all of these. The next step is to take my sun gold tomatoes and put them on the top. But there's a couple important steps to this part. So you wanna like match up the stem size the best you can. So kind of cut it at a part of the plant that's gonna match up to the similar size of where you just cut this. And then cut it at the same angle that I'm just gonna slip down into the bottom of the clip. And then once I slip it in there, I have these like coffee stirrers, and then the clips have that little hole, and this just slides right in there. And that holds the plant up so that it doesn't flop over while it heals. Okay, so I want to just show you guys how I'm doing these. So this is the top part that I'm going to put on the rootstock. So I'll just kind of cut it, and I've been just like peeling these off. I can squeeze it with my fingernail and just trim the leaves off. I find that's the easiest way. And then this is also a leaf, so that can go. So it's going to grow from the top. So it's super important that you understand that you're just taking the leaves off, but not the top of the plant. So I mean, technically I can take that little piece off too if I wanted to, but I don't know, I've been kind of leaving those little pieces on, and that's okay. And then once I get my stem, I just have been trimming this at an angle like this, right against my finger. And I've been finding that to work pretty good. Take your time, you can slice it nice. If that happens, it's no big deal. Just trim it off, right? And then you can just kind of make that the way you want it, right? And then it looks like that, okay? And that's all you need, just a little top of the plant. And we do that because you don't want the plant to spend any energy on growing more leaves. It'll spend all its energy trying to heal that graft now. And if you leave those leaves, they just get wilty, and you'll see the plant get super stressed out. But when we do this, it'll heal relatively fast, within 2 weeks, and then you'll never be able to tell that these were grafted. So now I'm going to do the rest of the tray just like that. This is a heat mat. I got a grow light up here, obviously. I'm just gonna leave these here with the light off for a few days. I probably am not gonna do anything. I wanna make sure these are closed. They're just gonna focus on healing. So, I mean, that's about it. So we'll check back on them in a few days, and I'll keep you posted. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's been exactly 1 week since we put these in here, and I haven't really touched them at all. A couple days ago, I came in here. They've got these little vents, and I just opened the vents to kind of gradually let some airflow in there. I've had these grow lights off the whole time, so no light at all, but they're on a heat mat. Today, we're gonna take these over here. We're gonna remove these humidity domes and see how we're looking. I think we're looking pretty good from what I can tell. This chamber has an exhaust with an air filter, so it sucks the air out, and it's got an air intake over here. So we're gonna turn the humidifier on, turn the grow lights on. I just took all the pepper plants out of here, and we took all the peppers to the nursery. So this is empty, and I have complete control over the temperature and humidity and the light in here. So a nice humid, warm environment's gonna be just what these healing plants are looking for. So we're gonna create that for them inside this grow tent and remove the humidity domes so that they can kind of grow, acclimate to some wind, and start healing and grow some actual leaves. So let's pull these out, take them over here to the bench, and we'll see what they're looking like. We're seeing what these look like for the first time together. Let's just check it out. overall pretty good, I'd say. I'm super happy with how they're looking. I mean, all things considered. I'm gonna give them a spray with my spray bottle just to make sure the humidity is staying high. They'll really appreciate some high humidity. I'll take them over here, bottom water them, and then we'll put them back into the tent. Just set them up on my 4-compartment sink here, turn the water on and fill up the tray, and then just let them sit there for a few minutes. This light is intentionally pretty far away from these. They're super fragile. You just want to kind of gradually let them get used to the light, the wind in here, but the humidity is going to be super important for these to continue healing. If they dry out, they're just going to want to die. So the heat, humidity, and a little bit of airflow, like I've got a fan under them blowing air this way, and then I've got a fan up there just kind of circulating air, and then the air exhaust system is pulling air out and bringing fresh air in. I have a gauge right here that monitors my temperature and humidity, so I can just kind of check it. Or it says 76 degrees in here. This heat mat raises the temperature of whatever's sitting on it by 10 degrees, so that'll make it kind of 85 for the root systems of the plants. 75% humidity, I guess, is like my target. It's been like 12, 13 days since we grafted them. Nice, cool, humid, not like super sunny out, you know, so it's a good day to bring them out to the nursery. Pretty sweet, huh? So like you'd always expect for some to die, and I'm super impressed with the survival rate. So maybe on that whole tray we've lost 3. So dude, I don't see any dead ones on this tray. Okay, so I got a bottom water station set up in the nursery, so we'll bring these out there and get them watered, and we'll set them in the nursery. It's super crowded out there. I got 1,000 pepper plants, so let's go check it out. Today we're actually gonna plant the tomatoes. My first step is I need to bottom water the trays, and before I do that, I'm gonna mix in some of my mycorrhizae fungi inoculant called mycogasm. And mycogasm saved my entire tomato crop last year from disease. So this plant right here started to like die kind of early in the season. It was like having yellow leaves. So I could tell something wasn't right. And then as the season went on, it started to like get wilty, and then it rained, and the thing just, I came out here one day and the thing was just dead. And then like the next day or two, it started to spread to the next one, and I was like, oh man, I was afraid. I mean, they were all gonna, like, it was spreading, like you could see they're both dead. So I took the mycogasm Heber sent me, and he told me, he said, hey man, it'll cure any tomato disease. So I saw this happening, and it started raining, and I just dumped some of the mycogasm into a 5-gallon bucket. I didn't measure it or nothing, just I dumped a bunch of it into 5-gallon buckets, and then I filled it up with my rainwater from my rainwater tank, and I just mixed it up real quick, and then I just dumped 5-gallon buckets of the mycogasm water here, and it's like it just stopped it. It just stopped the disease. So watch, I'll show you it all. Like these 2 plants died, and the rest is just thriving. My friend Heber makes this product. It's a mycorrhizae fungi inoculant. This is my rainwater catchment tank. I'm just gonna use rainwater for this. It calls for like a tablespoon or like a gram to 10 gallons of water. So I just kind of eyeball about a half a gram, and I'm just gonna dump it in this and then fill it up with my rainwater, and then we'll fill the bottom water tray with this to bottom water our plants. I've also got some fish fertilizer, just a 511, and this will also just kind of help boost the fertility. So as soon as we put those plants in the ground, they got a little extra fertility to help them get established and make sure that they've got everything they need. These are my bottom water trays. It's just like a commercial food service tray. I worked in the restaurant industry for 20 years, and that's kind of all I know, and these just kind of work good. I think they're 1.5 inches deep. So I've got my mix here with my mycorrhizae fungi inoculant and a little bit of fish fertilizer also. So that's what we're gonna bottom water these tomatoes in. So I'm just gonna pour it in here and set the tray right in it. We're gonna let it sit there, and then we'll go get the tunnel prepped for planting. This is what we call high tunnel number 3. I've got lettuce down the edges of these 2 beds. Tomato plants are gonna take like around 60 days from the time I plant them them till the time I get my first tomatoes. So while we're waiting to harvest our first tomatoes, we'll be able to harvest this lettuce out of these beds within about 4 weeks, which gives us continual harvests out of the space, really maximizing our profits out of this high tunnel. Above those 2 beds, there's what I call trellising wire installed, and that's where I'm going to hang the tomato plants from. So I'll show you how we set up the trellising system after we plant the tomatoes. The drip lines have 6-inch emitters on them, so I'm going to use those as my spacing so I don't have to like use a tape measure or anything. And I'm going to plant these at an 18-inch spacing down the middle of the row. I'm going to dig the hole with this, which is like a bulb auger, and it just attaches to this drill like this. And then I'm just gonna go down and I'm gonna drill a hole in the ground every 18 inches right on the drip emitter. All right, so I got my holes dug. I just filled this bucket with like a little bit of compost. Then I sprinkled in some of the Neversink blend dry amendments. It's mostly a high nitrogen and high potassium mix, and I sprinkled in some bone meal for phosphorus and some azomite. It's pretty potent, so I'm just gonna put like a small handful in each hole just to make sure that every tomato plant has all the nutrients it needs to get going. And I filled the holes with some of the mycogasm, mycorrhizae inoculant water. So now the holes have everything they need for my grafted tomato seedlings to thrive. Okay, so this is what I got. They're super saturated with water. And so I'm just gonna pull the straw out now and take the clip off. And that's my grafted tomato. So that's where it was grafted. So I'm just gonna stage them all on this tray right here, and then we'll go plant them. So it's super important though that you watch the next step when I plant them, because there's a very specific way these need to be planted. You'll lose all the benefit of the graft if you don't plant it correctly. All right, y'all, so I just went through and I dropped all the tomato plants into the holes that have all the good stuff already in them. Now, this is the most important part of the video that goes against probably everything anybody's ever told you about planting tomatoes. Generally speaking, people want to plant their tomatoes like as deep as possible to make a nice sturdy tomato plant. And I do agree with that. You can see how this guy's a little bit flimsy, but I can't bury him up to here or I'll lose all the benefit of the actual graft. So if I were to bury above the graft right here, then this part of the plant would grow root. It would lose all of its disease resistance. So the graft has to be above the soil line. So I'm just gonna stick these in my hole and plant them all about this deep. So I'll just fill in some dirt into my hole, kind of mix it in with my hand, and just make sure I plant this right above the soil line. And then just like that, my trellising system's set up. Takes me minutes to set this up. I just keep a wire installed in the top of all these high tunnels, and I'm just hanging this wire, which has a hook on it, from that wire. And then this is what I clip my tomatoes to. My tomatoes will climb right up this all summer, and then we can move them along this wire so we can lower and lean them. It's called the clipper system. I got a link in the description if you want to check it out. We'll come back in a few weeks. We'll check on these tomato plants, and I'll show you how we prune them and trellis them in the next tomato video. But right now I'm gonna go run the overhead irrigation. Check the links with discount codes in the description for some of the things you saw in this video. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, y'all. Have a good day.